My name is Chris, and today we're going to unbox this. Welcome to the Vinyl Attack. When it comes to jazz legends, it can be argued that none stand quite as tall as John Coltrane. His amazing tone and wealth of music theory and knowledge of modes were without reproach. His innovations in the art form are as important and legendary as the man himself, and still hold influence not only in music, but in popular culture today. From the time he participated in and eventually led the Melody Masters, a Navy band, during his service toward the end of World War II, John pushed further and further ahead in trying to find his own voice. He played with other jazz legends like Miles Davis and Thelonious Monk, but always continued in his search for what he thought jazz could be. After producing seminal favorites like Giant Steps and My Favorite Things for Atlantic Records, Impulse purchased John's contract, which reunited him with recording engineer and legend in his own right, Rudy Van Gelder. This ushered John in what would come to be known as his classic period. From the years 1962 to 1965, the John Coltrane Quartet, consisting of John on various forms of saxophone, McCoy Tyner on piano, bassist Jimmy Garrison, and drummer Elvin Jones. They would record several outstanding records, but right in the middle of this era was the year 1963. In the mind of many jazz enthusiasts, 1963 was a turning point in the genre. Trumpeter Donald Byrd would record the innovative A New Perspective with Hank Mobley, Herbie Hancock, and Kenny Burrell on guitar, and even included a gospel choir on the album. Pianist Bill Evans put down Conversations with Myself, in which he overdubbed 3 corresponding piano tracks for each song. And the mighty John Coltrane returned to form with several recordings that ended up making this. A 5 LP box set of all the recordings John and his band made that year for Impulse, including the lost album entitled Both Directions at Once, a recording done at Van Gelder's studio that was thought to be destroyed only to have a copy of the original surface some 50 years later. It's amazing to think that a record company would destroy a master tape simply to save on space, but that's what Impulse did. I'm thankful that Rudy gave John a copy of the tape to listen to at home, or we'd never even have this session come to light. After that, you get John Coltrane and Johnny Hartman, which is a ballads album recorded by the quartet and singer Johnny Hartman that was done in the studio only one day after the band had put down Both Directions at Once. This back-to-back performance not only shows their professionalism, but their extreme versatility to cover such a wide range of music in only 2 days and have it sound so wonderfully authentic. Dear Old Stockholm features Roy Haynes on drums while Elvin Jones was out of the band for a time in rehab. It's considered by many to be an underrated treasure and showcases Coltrane's immense ability to improvise as he does on the title track. An old Swedish song that Miles Davis and Stan Getz had performed before, here you can find John exploring in much greater depth the limits of the minor mode in which it's played. Newport 63 is the next record on this list, which is a live album recorded at the Newport Jazz Festival in Rhode Island. It has many excellent songs, but by far the one I'm most looking forward to playing on my turntable is this 17-minute long rendition of My Favorite Things. Perhaps his finest recording of this tune, its length is secondary only to the amazing performance by the whole band, who seem to be in perfect sync. I could go into great detail about how outstanding this performance is, as I could with any album or song in this box set, but I think this is something better for you to discover on your own if you already haven't. And we'd also be here all day. This just happens to be one of my absolute favorites, and I'm sure it will get a lot of play. Wrapping up the list is Live at Birdland, sort of a deceptive title considering only the first 3 tracks of the album were actually live. The remainder are studio recordings. That being said, it's another amazing piece of work in an already impressive list, and I'd be remiss if I didn't direct your attention to the tune Alabama. This piece of music is as important as it is beautiful and touching, and I recommend highly that you read up on its history and meaning and let it fill your thoughts while you listen to the droning piano and impossibly sad saxophone intro. It's a piece that really can change you. Although his life was cut short at the young age of 40, thankfully he was able to leave behind an impressive collection of recordings. Let's crack it in this box and let's take a look at 5 of them. I've seen pictures of this online, but obviously I haven't opened it yet, so I'm excited to kind of crack it open and see what the pieces look like in person. I know some of the jazz releases I bought recently, 2 especially from Sam Records, they had these picture inserts that were absolutely stunning. One of Chet Baker, and the resolution, it's good enough to frame, and I actually might do that just because. Got a nice slipcase. I like the box cover a lot. This is really sharp. Again, it's a high resolution piece. There are some very good photos of John, and then there are some really grainy, horrible, awful ones, but that's really not surprising considering the era of film was really hit and miss if you didn't get enough shots at once. This has a nice, what is that? What do you call it? Pull-out tab. And this is paper, almost like a wedding invitation. It's printed on, was it cellophane? No, tracing paper? Maybe it's the same thing. Let's see what we get inside here, because I really have no idea. I tried to avoid reading too much about what was in the box because I like to be surprised too. If I can get it out at all. Oh, so here's a poster of Live at Birdland. This is kind of cool. These sorts of things I like to frame and put up in my office or my music room. Here's a nice poster of the cover. It has a signature right here. I honestly don't know what that is. That's not Coltrane's signature, so I'll have to look that up and see what's going on with that. Here's another nice piece. It's a little high contrast for me. It's still really cool. This isn't something I might frame, but the other two I think absolutely would, and I might, as a matter of fact, just do that. Then we have, what is this, a book to go along with it? New Directions, 1963. These photos, some of these photos are absolute classics. I've seen a million times, but they're really nice and I like them. So this is, David Wild writes a piece on this. This is the insert photo we had, or the poster photo. This is the stuff I like to see. Mastering tapes, recording tapes, logs, song logs, or, you know, calendars of what they had going on. That's pretty cool. And then we have a full list of everything that is on each album. Side A, Side B, all the songs, the length, the performers, it looks like. We have the musicians here, and then who the songs were written by. Most of them, or yeah, I would say most of them are written by John himself. John was big on writing his own compositions, even though he did play some standards, especially early on in his career. And Favorite Things was a standard as well, but kind of brought him a lot of fame and notoriety. Let's move this before it falls. This tab is here. Oh, it is kind of handy. I was going to say, this didn't seem all that handy, but it's just because there's the weight of 5 records at once. So they're all in individual outer cases, or outer slip cases, just as good. I will be putting these in their own protective cases and then replacing these because these inner sleeves, God, I hate these things. But I have plenty of spares, so it doesn't matter at all. But let's take a look at the record and see. I can't see, much to the chagrin of Frank over at Channel 33, poor Frank, I can't see any scuffing on this album. He gets all the scuffed albums. If you have a chance, go say hi to him because the poor guy needs it. But yeah, this looks dead flat. It's a nice heavyweight vinyl. I mean, I know it's 180 gram, but you can feel the quality on the side of the record. Sometimes when you get 180 gram vinyl, the edges are very sharp or they just feel like they're cheap. This feels like it is a solid piece. It's nice and flat and has no marks whatsoever on it. So I'm looking forward to cleaning this and playing this. Hopefully tonight. We'll see, because after I'm done shooting this, I have to edit it and upload it. Number 2, much of the same, but I do like the covers are different. These are kind of interesting how they put them together. I like the stencil look down here with more of a modern all capital look up there. And then this kind of, I don't know what you would call that. In tattooing, we call that trash polka, but that's not exactly what that is. So if there's a term for that, let me know what it is. But again, I hate the sleeves, but the record, these are fantastic. I paid, I believe, shipped to my door, $125 US for this. You can find them, they're still available, so if you want to get one, you can find them anywhere. I always recommend go to your local record store if it's possible to find this. If not, you can find them online. But even then, if you choose, you can find record stores that have an online store. A lot of times I'll shop at the In-Groove, and they're out of Phoenix, Arizona. He's an independent record store. Sure, they've got a big following, and they have a fairly large store that has a lot of records, but it's not a chain. It's just one guy. So you may consider looking at something like that if you can't find this, or if you don't want to buy it on a major box online retailer. But on the back, again, we list the sides, we list the times of the songs, and then we have another cover. I kind of like this one too. This is sharp. I'm going to take a look. I'm imagining these are all going to be, yeah, this is, like I said, sometimes you can get edges that are just so sharp, and this is smooth as can be, and I really like that. The dead wax, I can see it a little bit here. It's easier to see with my Uber light, actually. But in the dead wax, you can see there's stamping which I can't quite read because I lost my glasses. These are substitutes. Mastered by Capitol is what's printed, and then the rest, of course, is hand scribing. So that's kind of interesting. LP number 4. This is what this is. Yeah, Newport 63. Because this will probably be the one that I clean first, because I usually clean maybe 2 a day. I clean my records more than once in the ultrasonic. I'm kind of thorough. Yeah, thorough that way. But I think this will be number 1, because my favorite things. Blue Train, that album was my first introduction to John Coltrane, and I loved it, and I was drawn to it, and I played it over and over. When I finally heard my favorite things, even though I actually don't like the soprano saxophone he uses in it that much, the tone is a little harsh for me. The song itself and his performance is just outstanding, and it's turned into probably my favorite, or one of my top 3 favorite tunes by him. I Love Supreme is good too, but they broke that up into sections. All that aside, this will probably get cleaned first. I'm going to check the vinyl and see. I'm sure it's the same, but why not take a look? Yeah, this is... That had a fuzzy on it of some sort, but that could just be floating around my house. Who knows? Same thing. No scuffs, no scratches, no anything. This is pristine. Impulse, in my experience, though, does do a very good job with their pressings and the releases, so I can't say that I'm overly surprised that this turned out so well. Lastly, Live at Birdland, the only thing that I wish this set had, do they list it on the side? They don't. They just have the name and the album, of course, and the album number. I wish they had what the album was right on the cover, because if you take all 5 of these out and you have them in your record collection, because let's face it, do we really want to keep opening up a box and pulling out the records every time we want to play them? No, of course not. So we're going to put this in our record collection. We're going to have it out for my own edification and trying to remember. Sometimes if you've had a couple of, soda pops, album number 3, album number 2, put the name right on the jacket so we can all see it. Or, when friends come over to listen to music with you, you know exactly what they are. That would have been nice. At any rate, last record, we'll check that out. I'm sure it's great. I like the Impulse label itself, not the company, but the actual look of it. I'm kind of a fan. I've been thinking about maybe picking up one of their t-shirts because I think they're kind of neat looking. I don't know, it's something about the orange and black. But yeah, this looks great. This is fantastic. I'm very impressed with how they put it together. To do this for a value of about $1.25, I mean, I paid $125 for just one album with the Stevie Ray Vaughan Mo-Fi One-Step. You get 5 records here. Now, I'm not comparing the quality of the pressings, but if you were to take the AC/DC album that just came out, Power Up, that when it first came out, I think the price has gone down a little bit, but that came out on record, on vinyl. That was, I think, $33 or $35 US, which is stupid expensive for one record that is not a special pressing. It had a gatefold cover, even though it didn't need it, which was nice, but not to that expense. You get 5 records here. And I've got posters, and I have the nice printed tissue paper, translucent paper. I have the box and everything. If these were all $30 a piece, that would still be $150. At $35, that'd be, what, $170? This is $125, and you get all the additional extras. This is how it should be done. This is how records should be produced and priced accordingly, in my humble opinion. But let me know what you think. Is this something that you would like to see in your home? Do you collect John Coltrane? What Coltrane albums do you have? Or just in general, what favorite jazz albums do you have? We're not getting to pressings just yet because there's so many of those, but this looks to be a fantastic collection. I'm very excited to clean it up and get it playing on my turntable. I appreciate you stopping by. If you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, it doesn't cost you a dime, so why not go ahead and do that now? And you might as well hit the like button while you're there. We do have a Patreon page in case you do have the opportunity to support the channel and help us grow, and I'm still selling stickers. Shirts are on the way. I'm still working on which brand of shirt I like, but they won't be long now, and I look forward to seeing you next time.